Welcome, everybody. Today we're talking about mindfulness. Mindfulness. The fullness of the mind, or is it something else? What is spiritual enlightenment? Spiritual enlightenment. You might not like the word. Spiritual. You're also spiritual. Oh, you're also out there in a spiritual trip. What does it mean? Is mindfulness real? Is it something extraordinary? Is it something otherworldly? What does it feel like to be enlightened? What does it feel like to be mindful? Well, many teachers will tell you it's not possible. Some will say, it could take many, many lifetimes. Many lifetimes? How many lifetimes you got? You got to wait around 10 lifetimes, 11 lifetimes. And other teachers will say that it happens in an instant, and suddenly there's a sensation of stepping outside of oneself. Something you're stepping out of something that was something that was holding you in, to say, in a sense. And you step outside of this, and suddenly there is no fear, there is no doubt, there is no worry, there is no radio playing. There's a certain sense of warmth and emptiness in the body, a kind of a very lightness that happens. And in that moment, all you know is breath, and the pain body, as Eckhart Tolle says, the pain body. You feel the body, and you are okay with it. You're okay with breathing and taking care of the body, and placing attention on it. And mind expands. There's a sense of expansion where suddenly you're above that. You're above this bodily sensation, and you're completely present for it. You're looking, you're seeing, and again, the dichotomy is, in one sense, you have no idea exactly what it is you're doing and how you arrived here. And in the other side of that is that something that you didn't realize was there opens up. And it's far more interesting and engaging than nonstop thinking, right? Nonstop thinking. There's still thoughts in the state. There's still thought. Thought and thinking are separate. Thinking is the concept. You get whooshed off away, and you're caught in this world of the past, memory, projecting into the future. Everything but what's happening in the moment. You may engage the moment, but you're coming from a place of confused world, relying on memory and conditioned behaviors to respond. In absence of that, without those reference points, something else happens. You're now engaging in a way that is selfless, fearless, chaotic. You're banging into things and literally, not literally, but you're the analogy of molecules slamming into each other and such. So molecular kind of biology. Mindfulness is a science. It's not a religion. There's nothing religious about any of this. Although I would argue that the Buddhists had the front seat on it. Historical teachings of the Buddha, the Four Noble Truths. But mindfulness itself, the practice of meditation, is as old as humans, I would imagine. I would imagine at some point people didn't have to meditate, and that it wasn't necessary. And maybe back in the cave or before the cave, in the primordial ooze, there was no need for this thinking. It was kind of a survival mechanism, and now we still deal with it. We still have it. We still have that way to deal with the world around us. I'm going to think my way out of it. I'm going to plan my way out of it. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to figure it out. And through the ages, the people before us, the Buddhas and the teachers have, and lay people as well, who have realized this thing for themselves, realized that trying to figure it out is what keeps you stuck. You let go. And how do you do it? How is any of this possible? What is being said is probably will be impossible, next to impossible to understand without a regular meditation practice. And how do you do that? You basically every day you sit and you focus on breath. There's a lot of approaches to meditation. Some will say guided meditations, and now I can see the flower blooming inside of my heart, and I wish compassion for all people. Before you run off doing that, without a sense of mindfulness, you essentially you don't really have that to offer. Right? It's like, I get the point, it's fake it till you make it. But it's better to develop a mindfulness practice by the ancient practice as taught by the Buddha, to follow the breath. The breath is with you all the time. It's not something separate. It is connected in many ways to thought, connected to feeling. It's connected in every way to the inner world of body. So by focusing on it, it also is the place to place attention, place awareness on it, and occupy awareness. Occupy it with breath, so that the thinking subsides, and breath is still going. And then, pow, everything illuminates, in a sense. Sometimes intensely, sometimes minusculely, sometimes not at all. And so what? It's not necessarily good or bad, but it is. It is what's happening in the moment. Even in the time of physical, fatigue, you could still be mindful and joyful. And now, so you follow the breath. I breathe in, I know I'm breathing in. I breathe out, I'm breathing out. I breathe in, I feel the breath, I feel it, I'm feeling it, it's here. And when the radio begins, if it begins, you bring your attention back to the breath, all the time. Eyes open, mindful. Breathe in, breathe out. All right, so a simple practice. 10 minutes a day to begin with, every day. Not just sometimes. Every day, and you begin to, it's hard. In the beginning, it's very hard. You say, oh, it's fucking hard. Excuse me, I cursed in a meditation video. Excuse me, it's effing hard. I can't do this. That's okay. That's normal. That is a good response. You see it happening. you are now aware of mind skipping off, and you return. I'm here. I'm back. I'm breathing. And you don't, the tendency is to beat yourself up. Oh, I messed up. I did it wrong. And you spend another 20, 30, 50 seconds browbeating yourself. Just return gently. The Tibetans have a nice analogy. It's the grandmother's finger. The grandmother's finger says, don't forget to breathe. Now, Johnny, you're doing good. Don't forget to breathe. Right? Grandma comes down and reminds us to breathe. And that's all there is to it. And fear, doubt, anxiety, anger, resentment, competition, falls away over time. Gets less. Not completely gone. At least for me, it's not completely gone. Maybe yet. But it fades. It dissolves to where they're not troubling. It's not a big deal anymore. It equates to some mild attachments to self, and as time goes on, those fade as well. I imagine, until there's nothing, until there's no self left, and then you're I don't know, you're something else. You keep going. You go on to the next life. What's next? But it's very joyful. That's the and fun too. This is not. If it wasn't fun, and joyful, why do it? Why bother? There's already enough suffering in the world. Why bother doing this? It makes me suffer more. Patience, discipline. The discipline of, not discipline to guru or tradition or orthodoxy, but discipline to oneself, discipline to the simple, precise teaching of mindfulness. I place my attention on the breath and I follow it in and out. And I feel the body completely. Shamatha, vipassana. And then awake over time. Or maybe very quickly. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly. But it does happen. It occurs. So, and also, the biggest obstacle, I've asked many meditation teachers and people who meditate all the time, what's the biggest obstacle in meditation? Many will say that they say, oh, it's too hard, I can't do it. I get 2 breaths, 3 breaths. And then I'm just sitting there thinking. I say the biggest obstacle in front of that is the idea, the belief that enlightenment is not possible. What we're referring to as enlightenment, the sense of complete and utter relief from daily suffering. That the biggest obstacle to meditation is believing that is not possible because someone told you it's not possible, or some school of thought said it takes 25 lifetimes, or I don't have 20 minutes a day, or whatever. The biggest obstacle there is clearly not believing that that relief is right around the corner, and all you have to do is continue. So, I hope that's clear. I hope that's helpful, and practice every day. No one can do it for you. When you see it, I'll end on this. When you see it for yourself, it is inescapably there. Right? What is it? what is it? If you ask a teacher, what is it, enlightenment? And they say, I don't know. Some people say you can't get it. That's not a teacher. That's someone, you need someone who knows what it is so that they can teach it to you. They can tell you that it's there. That's about all anybody can do, is tell you it's there. Continue. All right. The only right answer is, when you know you're breathing, recognize it. Breathe in, breathe out. That's the whole instruction. So get around that obstacle. Don't think that it's not possible, because it is possible. It's not a socially acceptable or mentally mental health healthy for your mental health profile to tell somebody that you're experiencing enlightenment. They'll probably say it's the hallucinogenics, man. There's something in your diet. You need to get air. Don't listen to that. Listen to you experience it. And once you do experience it, it's unshakable and it grows. Maybe it's best to not tell people. I don't know the answer to that. I think when the teacher is ready, the student appears, and vice versa. When the student's ready, the teacher appears. We never know what we are, really. Are we teacher or student? Or are we interchangeably both? At one moment, we're teaching, and the student says something that strikes a chord, then they become the teacher at that moment, and the teacher becomes the student. Those things are interchangeable. They're always shape-shifting. Right? So now it's up to you to sit and practice. There's plenty out there on in YouTube world to learn how to meditate. Not impossible, not even difficult, really. Every day, you meditate, you sit, you are mindful, and you let that carry into the rest of the day until you arrive at a point where the difference between the meditative state and everyday activity becomes very gray, very fuzzy, where not very different from that euphoric, euphoric, joyful sitting practice. Suddenly it's happening all the time, all day. It's real, and it happens, and I hope you find it. My name is Marcus Conti. Thanks for listening. Peace out.